So what's going on YouTube, man? Another day here in Nicaragua. Actually, I see myself leaving here pretty soon. Hopefully, I'm going to shoot for Monday or Tuesday. One of those days I'll be out of here. But I thought I'll jot down a couple of things that you guys may want to consider. Because there's some of you guys whose like retirement plan is to retire overseas. And I'm not trying to give you negative points, but I want to give you a couple ideas of something you need to think about before you actually come overseas. Now, number one, just because you move to a third world country doesn't mean that everything is going to be cheap. I think that's a big myth. Let me give you an example of what I'm saying. Okay, if you live like the people live, then yes, it will be very cheap. And when I say the people, I mean the local people. The local middle-class poor people. It'll be very cheap for you. Because, like, for instance, if you want to go to a restaurant or something like that and you're really thinking about your security, you probably will go to, like, the American style or European style equivalent type restaurants. And usually those are, they're either the same as it would be back home or actually a little more. I mean, you go to the grocery store, like for instance, shaving cream in the grocery store is $10. You know, if you want to buy a plasma television screen, just go ahead and put double the price for what you pay in the U.S. And it's so backwards to me because, you know, this is a poor country, actually the poorest country in Central America, but yet you have goods that high. But I know why they're that high. Because customs is corrupt, the government is corrupt, they have high taxes when it comes to goods coming into the country. They put a lot of stuff in their pocket, and that drives the cost of goods up. So I mean, like for a plasma television screen, maybe 40-inch, you'll pay maybe 47-inch, you'll pay like $1,000. If you don't sell $1,100, let's say, right? That same TV set will be $2,500 here, U.S. dollars, not a net currency. So just don't think that everything is going to be dirt cheap, okay? Another thing, too, if you are saying, well, look, I want to buy a home in another country and I want to reside in the States, this is another thing you need to take into consideration. A lot of people that I've known that have been in that situation, this is what happens. They have their home in the U.S. and then they have a home here. But what happens is they have to come here 2 to 3 times a year because when you buy a home, there's always upkeep. And if you put your home on the ocean, expect for a lot of things to rust by the ocean with the salt. It just happens. So what I've seen is it's more of a burden for people because they're like, you know, I feel like I can't take a vacation anywhere else because I have to always come back to this house. Now some of you may say, well, I'll buy the house, but I don't always have to come back. Yes, you do. Because another thing you need to take into consideration is security. One quick story. I had a friend of mine say, man, let's go to Manalo for the day. Let's stay overnight and we'll catch a movie. You know, his wife, you know, it basically was 2 of them. It was his wife and himself, and was my wife and myself. And then we were like, okay, there's a problem, but I have to get a security guard to watch the place. I said, we're going to be gone for 1 day. He said, that doesn't matter. Because in other countries, what you'll find is, third world countries that is, there's a class system. And a lot of the times, I hate to say this, you have to stay in your class. The example, you may come here and you're like, hey, you know, you see a person that maybe your maid or their friends or something. You're like, look, I want to treat you guys to a dinner. Once you guys come over and you have dinner with me, whatever, bring your family, bring everybody, no problem. First of all, when they show up, you may have invited 2 people. Don't be surprised if 20 people show up. Because you got to understand that a lot of the things that you're exposing them to, they've never seen in their life. Okay, now, here's where it gets tricky. So they come to your house, and they eat, and they're going to eat a lot. They're going to take everything they can. Now, don't get me wrong, this isn't everybody. This is the situations I've seen from myself and from talking from other people who lived in these places. And they gave me this advice too, and at first I thought, come on, that's inhumane. You can't just totally exclude people. So what happened is, you remember you invited them for dinner. Don't be surprised if that morning you wake up and you hear a knock on your door, and some of those same people are knocking on your door to have breakfast. and then they're coming to hang around. Because you got to understand that I really learned a lot about philanthropy when I was living here. You can't just give money to people. You just can't give things to people, especially poor people. Because one thing a lot of poor people have in common, they don't have any ideas. They're always looking for an easy way out where they don't have to actually use their skills, where they can benefit off of others. So I've seen that a lot. What else do we have here? Everything will be slower. If you come with the American mindset that everything's going to be fast, no, you will be upset. I'm telling you that now. So when you come here, you better come with your laid-back vibe and not be in a rush for anything. And don't be surprised if your toilet goes out and you ask the plumber to come fix it and he doesn't show up for 2 weeks. Or maybe a month. If you can handle things like that, living in a third world country may be the place for you. It's just expect a lot of broken promises. I made a couple videos. I told you one of the words I've learned here in Spanish and I'll never forget is mañana, which means tomorrow. But tomorrow, mañana doesn't mean tomorrow in Nicaragua. It means maybe 2 weeks from now. So expect a lot of broken promises. People will tell you things, okay, I'll meet you there at 11. They don't really mean that. They really mean I'll meet you there at 1 or 2 o'clock. They don't have that sense of urgency here. It doesn't exist. So keep that in mind. What else do I have here? Oh, security is real different. Now, Nicaragua is one of the most safest countries in Central America. But keep this in mind. I haven't experienced anything bad until just like this last week. Okay? And these are terrible. A friend of mine is an Iranian guy. He owns a couple businesses here. The other day he caught a cab at night. He gets in the front seat of the cab, and all of a sudden he feels a cold piece of steel on the back of his neck. He's getting robbed. The guy tied his hands up, drove him around. He took his necklace, he took all his money, took his watch, took everything, and then kicked him out of the cab in the middle of nowhere. It happens. You know, I mean, this can happen in the United States, this can happen, you know, but here it happens because people look at you as first class. They can tell automatically that you're not from here. And especially if you go around, you can't really speak the language and things, they look for opportunities. Last night, I went to the grocery store, and I was just getting some snacks, and on my way to the grocery store, when this guy was shot. I didn't see him getting shot, but it happened right after we arrived there, right after, and, you know, the taxi cab driver is slowing down, trying to look, and the guy is screaming. You know what I'm saying? It was the same thing again. It was a robbery. You know? So you have to think about security when you come to these places. You know, especially a gringo. Because you will stick out. You know, you won't blend in at all. So you got to understand, like, do you want your own driver? If you drive, like, how are you going to secure yourself? You know, because you have to take care of that threat. I mean, and I'm not trying to scare you guys. I'm just trying to give you guys the real raw facts. You know, they kidnap. You know what I'm saying? It does happen. You know what I'm saying? So you got to keep those things in mind if you want to come to these places. And it's good for you to hear this because a lot of people think it's going to be peaches and ice cream. It won't. There will be some good things, but they necessarily won't. What else we got here? One good thing is that you can have a staff. You can have a maid to cook, clean, wash your clothes, iron your clothes. You really don't have to do much. Your landscaping, clean your pool, all of this for a little of nothing. And you can relax in that way. But I'm giving you some of the negative things that you need to keep in mind. But for every negative thing that I give, there's 100 other positive things. So if you got any questions, comments, concerns, please send me a message. If you like the topics that I talk about, please subscribe to the channel. Only takes a minute, and actually takes less than a minute. So until next time, guys, signing off.